All right, welcome to Hannity. And tonight, Fauci's big farewell goes off the rails as Karine Jean-Pierre loses control of the White House press briefing. We're going to show you the lowlights. That's straight ahead tonight. Also, House Leader Kevin McCarthy is now calling for the DHS Secretary Mayorkas to resign after refusing to secure the southern border for 2 long years. And later, a story that will shock and disgust you, a new ad campaign from a fashion brand featuring kids holding teddy bears dressed in bondage gear. We have that full report coming up. But first, we turn to the great state of Georgia, where the all-important runoff is but 2 weeks away. And Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, they are missing in action, nowhere to be found. And as of now, they will not be attending any rallies or hitting the campaign trail in any way, because apparently the Biden administration, they are too toxic to voters in Georgia. But make no mistake, even if he doesn't step foot in Georgia, Joe Biden, he's definitely on the ballot. And any vote for Raphael Warnock is a vote of confidence for Joe Biden, a vote to rubber stamp his radical agenda, a vote for more inflation, high gas prices, violent crime, wide open border. You people in Georgia, you get to decide. A vote for one of the most radical far-left politicians in the country. And on the other hand, if Herschel Walker wins, the U.S. Senate will be split 50-50. In that scenario, who knows? You might have so-called moderate from West Virginia, Joe Manchin, be put on the hot seat. And by the way, they did, after he went along with the Inflation Increasing Act, his poll numbers have plummeted. Maybe he might be ready to switch parties and be with people that if they make a commitment to give his state a pipeline, don't pull it back after he makes a vote that he didn't want to make. Anyway, Herschel Walker will join us tonight along with Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham at the site of a huge rally. But we begin tonight in the Washington swamp and sewer, where it was a very big week for Joe Biden. Moments ago, he touched down in Massachusetts, where he will be staying at a $20 million compound in the beautiful island of Nantucket for the Biden family's annual Thanksgiving celebration. Now, one does have to wonder whether the Biden money used to pay for this lavish vacation is from the tens and tens of millions of dollars the Biden family syndicate took in from countries, you know, like our friends in Russia and China, Ukraine, and, of course, Zero Experience Hunter and the big guy. They cashed in big time. Now, before his big trip to Nantucket, Biden first hosted a wedding at the White House for one of his grandchildren that he officially recognizes, not the grandchild that he doesn't recognize. Now, naturally, the press corps was shut out of that event, but Vogue magazine was given, exclusive access. The only question I have, did the Biden family syndicate, did the newlyweds get paid for the pics? Anyway, the next morning, Joe enjoyed a very special brunch celebrating his 80th birthday. The oldest sitting president in American history is now even older. On Monday, a couple of big turkeys and Joe Biden waddled out to the White House lawn for the annual Thanksgiving pardoning ceremony. But as it turns out, those turkeys were not the only ones granted clemency by the administration, because this week we now learn that the White House asked a federal judge to grant Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince, MBS himself, immunity in a civil lawsuit over the death of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Biden, of course, once referred to the Crown Prince as his murderer and vowed to treat Saudi Arabia like a pariah state. But now he's more than happy to offer federal U.S. immunity. And when you look at that, at the exact same day, the day after OPEC Plus, led by Saudi Arabia, all of a sudden they're reconsidering an oil output increase. I'm sure just a mere coincidence. Now, Biden offers immunity. Saudi Arabia pumps more oil. Maybe it's a quid and a pro and a quo with Joe again. Anyway, Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell, where are you guys? That's right. Your deep concerns surrounding so-called quid pro quos, that was a giant fraud also, just like the left's climate change hysteria. Now, think about this. In the name of saving Mother Earth, beautiful Mother Earth, right? Biden shut down the Keystone XL pipeline, restricted oil and gas drilling, but he's blocking new exploration permits. But at the same time, he's offering immunity, legal immunity, to a guy that he said was a murderer. So the Islamic Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, he hopes, will drill more oil for his kind deeds, just like his buddy Vladimir Putin got his pipeline waiver after the Bidens made millions from Russia while simultaneously shutting down the Keystone XL pipeline. But bear in mind, the Saudis do not produce oil in a more environmentally friendly way than we do in the U.S. And in order for the U.S. to use their oil, well, it has to be shipped on massive gas-powered cargo ships across the ocean. And if you think Democrats are protecting the environment, you're a fool. They're actually making it all worse. And by the way, Joe is going to be paying reparations up to, what, $1 billion to countries because of gas emissions from the U.S. Everything he's doing is driving up gas prices, which is driving up the cost of everything you buy in every store you go to. I hope you're enjoying it. Now, the green energy movement is a sham, but by the way, so is Biden's student loan handout. Now, as the president himself stated in September, the pandemic is over, but clearly the elections are not. So in a latest scheme to bribe young voters out in Georgia, Biden just extended the, quote, pause through June of 2023. He knows this is unconstitutional. The courts are already telling him that, but he's offering false hope to people with student loan debt in the hopes that they may get out and vote in Georgia for a Democrat. Don't forget, if you have a loan on a house or a car or credit card debt or a small business loan, you will need to make all of your payments on time. But if you're a 35-year-old with a $100,000 master's degree in gender studies from Harvard or whatever college you went to, you will now get a free pass courtesy of hardworking Americans, you know, contractors and carpenters and plumbers and electricians and nurses. You know, they'll be paying for your college. And for the past 2 years, Biden has treated the federal government like a slush fund for his supporters. Remember, there was the blue state bailout, multiple trillion-dollar spending deals. Of course, the climate bill, disguised as the Inflation Reduction Act, that allocated hundreds of billions of dollars to Joe's friends in the green energy industry, while doubling the size of the IRS, 87,000 new agents, in order to squeeze Americans into funding part of the bill. Now, needless to say, most Americans are not happy with Biden. We have a new Emerson poll. It has him well underwater at just 39%. Yet somehow the vice president is polling even worse. And that's why the vice president is polling worse, which is why the Biden administration is sending Kamala Harris farther and farther away out of the public spotlight. You probably didn't notice, but she's been in Asia for a while. And here she is once again talking about the significance of something of significance. Take a look.
This is my third trip to the Indo-Pacific region as vice president, and really signifies the significance of the relationship between the United States and our allies and partners in this region. The discussions that we had included, in large part, a discussion about the significance of the climate crisis and what we can do as the United States to be a leader in that regard.
Now, I know maybe it's far and distant for many of you, but on December the 6th, coming up soon in Georgia, you can choose to reward Kamala Harris and Joe Biden with a 51st senator, or you can choose to hold them accountable with someone who's not going to be a rubber stamp for their radical agenda. The choice is for you and the people of Georgia, and a lot is at stake. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.